Greetings and welcome back to Factorio. I'm KatherineOfSky, and today we're going to talk about a train feature called interrupts. Now we're going to hop on this train because it's getting ready to empty its cargo. And you're going to see that this train has quite an unusual schedule. We have the iron ore pickup station, and we have two different interrupts here. The train is almost done unloading its cargo, and we're going to see what happens. What I'm going to show you can be used in quite a lot of ways, but I want to show you this working system that we already have going on right in my base here. So we are out of cargo, just about. So now we're going to go to iron ore pickup. And that is a station just a little bit away. So we're going to go over there and pick up some stuff. And let's see if we get out of here and then we click it again. Yeah, we can see we're going to iron ore pickup. So here we are, getting there. As you see, the train engine is gray colored or black, and that's because I have not changed this destination station thing. You can actually change that here to use the destination train stop color for the thing. So now we're filling up the cargo, and what happens? Oh, a station just popped in. How did that happen, you might say? Well, we have an interrupt called Smart Drop. And the way this works is it detects any cargo over 0, and it is an item parameter, a wildcard that kind of passes in different ways. So what it's going to do is it's going to find anything with item parameter and the name base in it. Okay? And it just so happens that I have named this place iron ore base. So therefore, it's going to come over here. Now, what is this other interrupt? This is because I discovered several problems with having many trains. So what happens if you have, and this is going to be a problem you might have seen already in Factorio 1.1, where the trains are like, oh, can't move, sorry, train stop full or no path, or, if you have train limits, like I do at a number of these stations, there are train limits to prevent more than X amount. These ones are controlled by how much is in the boxes. But if the train limits are full, then where do they go? A lot of them are going to sit and block this station, preventing anything to be unloaded. So the other thing is to say, hey, if you have the condition destination full or no path, go to the shunting station. And I'll show you this in a second. This is also really important. Allow interrupting other interrupts. And what that means is, remember, we were seeing the other interrupt where we were going to the base station. Well, if that base station happened to be full, then the train would just sit there and do nothing. So we do want to allow it to interrupt other interrupts. I know that sounds like very, Inception sort of thing, but that's the way that works. And that's how that will end up working better for you. So now if we take a look at our shunting yard, we can kind of see what's going on here. Now, all of these trains are asleep because their stops are full right now. And the reason they have come here, though, is, as we have said before, because they are, they're looking at a full or no path situation. Now, the way to leave the shunting yard is to check for these conditions. If the base is not full, or if the iron ore pickup is not full, and that should allow them to go to their stations. But right now they are, oh, there it goes. This one turned blue, and that means the temporary base station is ready. Well, temporary station for it. It's the iron base station. So if you're wondering how to set these up from scratch, let me just show you, especially as to the symbology there that is a little bit weird when you first do it. Now, keep in mind that you need to you need to have the stations named in a very specific way. The first symbol of the station, or first item in the station name, has to be the icon for the thing, as I understand it. or at least that's how it was taught to me. I haven't experimented with other things, but it could be possible. So we're going to go ahead and just do a smart drop show. We'll just call it that. It doesn't matter what the name is. That is totally irrelevant. So we're going to do a condition of you want to choose item count, and you're going to choose the cargo with this special symbol, item parameter, greater than 0. Okay. And then your target is going to be not any of these. You're going to type this in. You're going to type in item parameter, and then I named mine base with no space between the parameter and base. So you just say save interrupt. No. Oh, it didn't work. Let's just do that real quick. Base and press enter. And it saves it even though this is not technically a station name. It doesn't actually exist as a station name. So now we have this ability for the cargo. It senses the cargo on the train, and then it targets the place that it goes to. Now, technically, you can do this also for your pickup stations, and you can just have trains just doing a schedule from whatever parameter or to these interrupts going to the base station. However, I don't find that to be very useful because what happens is if you end up not in this factory necessarily, but maybe you have iron patch, iron patch, iron patch, copper. And we know how trains work. They go to the nearest patch first. So you're going to get a whole bunch of iron, and you're never, ever going to get any copper. And that actually happened to me at the LAN party game that I played, where I wasn't getting enough of stuff. So instead, what I did is I have sort of limited things. I have an iron train group, I have a copper train, and a coal train, because I do want the ability to control those a little bit more. And you can see how many trains I have in each of those groups. I have 9 iron trains, 2 copper trains, and 2 coal trains, and 4 that are unassigned because they are doing like green circuits and other things like that. But this is a way that you can both make groups for your trains. Actually, let's talk about the groups. The groups are kind of interesting. You can make a brand new group by saying, you just call it test group. And then you can add trains to this test group. Like if I make another engine here, I can say go to test group. And then we have 2 trains on the test group. Now, if I add a station, nuclear power, and add a station, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then I click on this train. This has these things automatically updated. It is very, very convenient to do this. And if I want to copy this and say, well, I like this thing. And this is what I did initially for the copper and the iron station, so I wouldn't have to recreate the interrupts, which you don't really need to do that. I'll show you another way to do this. So anyway, we can choose one of the engines and just say test group 1. Okay. It becomes its own group. It keeps the schedule. The other train keeps the schedule. And if I change these by adding other like several more stations, say, this one is not affected and this one has its own group. But you were able to use the seed of that and are able to save time in that way. So if we look at this one, we can add an interrupt, and they're already listed here, which is kind of convenient. So you can actually add interrupts to the schedule from a sort of database where it saves everything that you do automatically, which I find really, really, really convenient. Let's look at the interrupt conditions because those are kind of fun. So if we add an interrupt called test, let's look. We can do at specified station, a circuit condition, destination full or no path, empty cargo, fluid count, fuel for all locomotives, any locomotive, fuel, full cargo, full fuel, has cargo, item count, not at specified station, passenger not present, passenger present, station is full and station is not full. And I know fuel is a big one for a lot of people. And that is something that I might play with in the future. For now, I've done sort of like hub fueling as I have before, where if several trains go to a place, then I will have fuel delivered there and then just fuel it from there. If you choose to do interrupts for fueling, what I would suggest is to have several fuel stations. The worst thing in the world is to have a whole bunch of trains going to one centralized fueling station, because that's going to create delays. It's going to back up the lines. So I implore you not to do that. Just have a couple of different fueling stations. Like in this area, it would be great to have one on each branch, maybe midway down the line. And so if the lines extend further, trains can go a little bit closer, but there's not going to be a huge backup and interrupting the trains like in the middle of their journeys and stuff, that they have to go to one middle place to fuel. So anyway, those are some ideas for you. If you want to help support me, do check out that link to buy the DLC at Humble. It doesn't cost any extra and it gives you a Steam key. And if you have the means to support me via Patreon or membership on the channel, that is so much appreciated. Me and the kitties love you. I have migraines 24/7, so YouTube is the way that I can survive. That's literally the only job I can do. So anyway, if you have the means, it is very much appreciated. And I thank you so very much for your support. Thank you so very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time.